What's the Select Board? The Select Board, or Board of Selectmen, is the town's elected executive board with usually 3 to 5 members. The Select Board prepares the town meeting warrant and makes recommendations on the articles.
What is a town manager? A town manager or a town administrator handles the administrative tasks of running the town departments and supervising town employees. The town manager is at the town meeting to answer any questions.
What is a town clerk? A town clerk is an elected or appointed position. At the town meeting, the town clerk is responsible for taking minutes and recording all the votes.
What is a town attorney? A town attorney or town council is the lawyer hired by the town who provides the town with legal advice and answers legal questions during town meeting.
What is a representative town meeting? A representative town meeting is one where all of the town's voters may vote for what are called town meeting members, typically elected by precinct at an annual town election. Elected or representative town meeting members are the only ones that vote at town meeting, but the public can also attend.
What is called to order? The town meeting is called to order when the moderator determines that there is a quorum and officially opens the meeting.
What is a warrant? A warrant is the official listing of articles for the town meeting that has been compiled by the Select Board and publicly posted in advance and distributed to voters at town meeting.
What are articles? Articles are the individual items on the warrant to be acted on at each town meeting. Each town meeting has many articles, and they're typically voted on one at a time. What's a consent article? Consent article is kind of an exception to the process of town meeting. They're articles that may be related to each other, and they're combined into one article to vote. What is a private petition article? A private or citizen's petition article is when citizens feel strongly about something, they want it on the warrant. It usually takes about 10 voter signatures, or maybe in a special town meeting more, but it brings an article before town meeting that is important to that citizen or that group of citizens.
What is a home rule petition? A home rule petition is a request from a local municipality for a new type of power from the state legislature, such as the power to enact a new tax regulation or an exemption from an aspect of a state law. The bill passed locally is sent to the state representatives and state senators who seek to pass it in the legislature as a state law that would only affect the one municipality.
What is an amendment? An amendment is a request to change the motion under discussion. Any voter may request to be recognized by the moderator to make an amendment. The amendment must include the specific words to be deleted or substituted in the original motion, but remain within the context of the article. In Chatham, all amendments must be submitted in writing at the town meeting. A vote on the amended motion takes precedent over the motion on the floor. If the amended motion fails, discussion reverts to the original motion offered. What is a non-binding resolution? A non-binding resolution is a question or motion adopted by town meeting, usually to get a sense of the voters. It does not enact a law or rule and is used to make known the opinions of the body on a certain matter or initiative. Following town meeting, the Select Board will determine if any further action will be taken.
What is a majority vote? A simple majority is determined by the number of voters at a town meeting. Most articles require only a majority vote. What is a supermajority vote? A supermajority vote is more than a simple majority, such as 2/3 or 3/4. That is required on specific issues. These usually involve town finances or bylaws.
What is a teller? On the occasion whereby the moderator or a town meeting voter requests a counted vote, tellers are responsible for counting votes, either using a voting card or raised hands at the town meeting. Tellers are sworn in by the moderator at the beginning of town meeting and provided a designated section to count votes. The votes are then reported to the town clerk for tallying. Even with electronic voting devices, a voter at town meeting could request a counted vote.
What is reconsideration? Reconsideration is a notice of intention to reconsider the action that's already been taken on an article. It's allowed only under certain time limits and other rules set by the moderator.
What is the budget? The town operating budget is proposed by the town manager and voted by the select board for a transmittal to the finance committee for a recommendation at town meeting. In Chatham, we begin budget preparations as early as July and hold public meetings through March. The operating budget is based on a fiscal year, July 1st through June 30th. It is the basis of the town's comprehensive financial plan and service delivery priorities for the entire community. Budget items include town revenue projections, department personnel salaries, operating expenses, small capital items, goals and objectives, prior year accomplishments, and an organizational chart. I encourage voters to visit the town's website or offices to review the budget book. What is the general fund? The general fund is the account in which general and/or undesignated revenues are deposited for use in paying the town's general expenses. Such offsets items funded through the tax rate.
What is a stabilization fund? The stabilization fund is monies appropriated by the town to fund capital expenditures for equipment, land, or large-scale projects or any other lawful purposes. An appropriation from the fund by town meeting usually requires a supermajority vote.
What is capital? Capital expenditures are for equipment, land or large-scale projects, or any other lawful purpose under the stabilization fund. What is free cash? Free cash is the amount of the town's surplus revenue over and above uncollected taxes of the prior year.
What is the reserve fund? The reserve fund is money appropriated by the town to cover extraordinary or unforeseen expenses during the fiscal year. These monies need to be approved by the Finance Committee.
What is the Finance Committee? The Finance Committee does a deep dive into the budget in the months before town meeting. It also makes recommendations on articles that are financially significant, and they are advisory. Members may be elected or appointed. What is the Community Preservation Act? The Community Preservation Act is a state act that allows each community to create a local preservation fund for open space and historic preservation purposes, affordable housing, and outdoor recreation. Monies are raised by a surcharge of not more than 3% of the tax levy against real property. CPA committees decide how the funds will be used, make recommendations to town meeting, and then town meeting votes.
What is motion to adjourn? Any voter may make a motion to adjourn the town meeting once official business has been completed.
What is a motion? A motion is made when an article reaches the floor, and the moderator will ask the appropriate board for its recommendation on the motion. The moderator also will ask the Finance Committee for its recommendation based on its review as required by a town bylaw. What is a moderator? A moderator is an elected person who runs the town meeting according to the state laws and town bylaws. He or she sets the rules and decorum for the meeting, calls on speakers, and declares the outcome of votes. What is Proposition 2.5? Proposition 2.5 is the state law that limits the amount of property taxes a community can levy to 2.5%. The tax levy can only increase by a certain amount each year. What is an override? An override is a vote to permanently increase a town's levy limit. The amount of the override becomes a permanent part of the levy limit base. What is a quorum? A quorum is a number of voters required to begin a town meeting, usually a certain percentage of the total voters. The moderator determines when a quorum is reached to start the meeting. What is an open town meeting? An open town meeting is one in which all voters who live in the town may vote on all matters. Towns with fewer than 6,000 inhabitants must have an open town meeting. Towns with more than 6,000 inhabitants may adopt either an open or representative town meeting. 13 of 15 towns on Cape Cod have open town meetings. What are rules of debate? Rules of debate define how debate is to be conducted at town meeting. Rules may designate who comments and how inquiries are directed at the moderator, for how long, and how remarks are given. The moderator reviews the rules at the beginning of the meeting. What is call for a vote? After a motion is made and appropriate discussion on it, the moderator will call for a ballot vote using various methods of voting at his or her discretion. What is move the question? Move the question is when any voter from the floor may move or call the question on an article, which stops any further discussion. The moderator then must call for a vote. What is a vote? A vote on an article is done when the moderator calls for a vote. Voting can be done by a voice vote, a show of hands, standing vote, roll call, secret ballot, or using electronic keypads at the discretion of the moderator. What is a voter? A town meeting voter must be a resident and registered voter. Voters must check in and get a voter card upon entering town meeting. Voters can ask questions, make motions and amendments at the meeting, and submit private petitions to be included on the warrant. What is a non-voter? A non-voter is someone who may or may not be a resident of the town and is not registered to vote in the town. A non-voter will be seated in an area separate from the voters. He or she may or may not be allowed to speak at the moderator's discretion. What is the Finance Committee? The Town Finance Committee prepares the budget and financial articles for the warrant in the months before the annual town meeting. Its recommendations are advisory. Members may be appointed or elected depending on the town's bylaws. What is a special town meeting? A special town meeting is one called outside the usual annual town meeting for a vote on an issue or issues that need to be settled in a timely manner. The Select Board is responsible for calling a special town meeting. It can be requested in writing by either 200 registered voters of 20% of the total number of registered voters, whichever number is less. It must be held within 45 days after receiving the request and lists all subjects on the warrant. They may be called as many times during the year as necessary.